One and only Nikki Bonds. Give her a big round of applause. How y'all doing? So are you like, database or database? Database. So, Dara, when she asked me to come share with you guys today, she's like, what are you talking about in your team? And I said, you really are not going to believe it, but we're talking about database. And we're always talking about database because when I got licensed in 2010, and I tried to get a copy of it and I almost succeeded, but I carried around my church directory. If you guys have known me for a long time, you know this story about me. And that church directory was my first database. And that's how that BRG has built their business. And so I am super passionate about this. And so what I'm going to share with you today, there's going to be some tidbits for those of you who are still in the process of building your database. But I'm also going to share with you guys some things that we've been doing in our team to kind of double down or refresh our database because I think we've gotten some complacent in some areas. And the first thing I want to do is encourage you to get this book. If you do not have it or you have not read it, it's called Ninja Selling. There's an entire system and like whole organization around this book. We read it in the fourth quarter last year. We just finished it up and we're starting it again tomorrow. We're jumping right back into it. This book is so rich and so full of just fabulous ideas. So anyway, and also for you guys like Sammy, all you guys, this is for everybody. So I highly recommend it. Huh?
I want that.
Yes. So I promise you will not be disappointed. So jumping in today, in the NAR profile of home buyers and sellers, this did not surprise you. These numbers really don't change. 88% of people would use the same agent that they worked with. So what does that say about our customer service?
We do a good job.
We do a good job. Like, we know what we're doing. We have great communication throughout the process. And so this is really, really, really good. Now, how many do?
Not 88.
Not 88. 21% of people actually use the same agent. So what does this say?
We're not staying in touch.
Not following up. They forget who we are. And so in 2024, 64% of our closings were from repeat or referral clients that came directly from our database. And so today, this is what we're going to talk about. And we're going to talk about building and maintaining a database. So for those of you that want to build, we're going to talk about that. And for those of you that have one that's healthy and functioning, we're going to talk about some of the ways to maintain the health of it today, okay? So the first step is to find people that know you. And my first coach in this business was Eric Jordan, and he kind of introduced me to this idea of find people and build your database with people who know you, like you, and trust you. And I just want to clarify that for the purpose of this conversation, we are not talking about leads that might register on a website. These are not internet leads. These are going to be people that you know in your everyday life, okay? So some of the questions around people that know you are, who are you? So what's your name? What do you do? So either I sell resale real estate, I sell commercial real estate, I sell land, I sell investments, so they know what you do. And then lastly, where do you do it? So what's the brand associated with you? That is KW, it's your logo, it's your company, whatever that is. So those are three components to this category is, do they know you? Now, the next one is, do they like you? So this is the vibe. And in this book, they talk about, do you have a positive vibe? If you guys have ever heard Jeff Glover speak, and I know that some of you are going to when he comes, he is like, you got to check your attitude at the door. So we all have got stuff in our lives going on. We all have things that make life kind of yucky some days, but when we check in, when we clock in, we've got to turn on the positive because the people that are working with us, they don't need us dragging our mess into their really important transaction. And so do we emit that positive vibe? Are we genuine? Do they feel like we're genuinely interested in what's happening in their world? Not just about the end result, but is there a genuine commitment? And then are we asking forward questions, which we're going to talk about in just a minute? And then the next piece of this is, can they trust me? And there are 4 questions to ask around this component. And number 1 is your character. Can they count on you? Are you going to show up on time? Do you do what you say you're going to do? If you say I'm going to be there at 10 o'clock, you know, if you remember Diana Kokoska, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we had an appointment 10 o'clock and it's 10 o'clock. She was just reiterating that you can count on my character. My competence. Do I know what I'm talking about? Am I the master of my domain? Number 3, capacity. And this is something that, if I can get on my soapbox for a minute, I'd really like to challenge, because I'm guilty of it too. If you've ever met with somebody, and it can be somebody that you're really super close to, but you have to have people in your world that are like your super confidants, but then there's this persona we put on. And it's like, how are you doing today? Oh, I'm really, really tired. I showed property all weekend and it was really good. What did you just convey to them?
I'm too tired to help them.
I don't have the bandwidth to help you with your problem. So we have people in this building that we can have those conversations with. That's what's so powerful about this place. Here we can have those conversations, but when you're out and about, it's like, how are you doing? I am doing fantastic. How are you doing? I had the opportunity to show property all weekend. I'm fantastically tired, right? So I just want to encourage you that, you know, people are listening. What is your bandwidth? What is your capacity? They're listening for those things. And then number 4 is your consistency. Are you consistent in your look and behavior? And that's something that I had really never thought about until I read this book. But they are trusting your consistency. They are trusting the way that you show up and the way that you act all the time. So these 3 key factors, do they know you, like you, and trust you, go to a foundational building blocks of your database. Now, the next piece is your flow. All right, and this is what we're going to get into today. And this is the frequency of your interaction. How many times are you talking with them and communicating with them? How many times are they hearing from you? And I'm just going to tell you that something that this book also outlines is the pecking order of importance to the flow when you're communicating with your database. And it starts with the thing that we might all enjoy, which is face-to-face. Number 1, best interaction, face-to-face. Then voice-to-voice. Then we're going to go to text. Then we're going to go to mail. Then we're going to go to email. And how many of us kind of want to default to email first, right? So the one that we most default to is actually number 5 out of 6 on the list. And the last one on the list is advertising. So when you're thinking about the communication that you have, you got to think about the pecking order, which is the most impactful, which is the most powerful. I will say that I've recently started using voice texting. How many of you guys utilize voice texting? It is so powerful. It's an audio text. So if you just click that button and you scroll down, you can send an audio text to someone. So it's kind of like leaving a voice message in a text. And they can hear your excitement. They can hear your enthusiasm. They may hear it way quicker than a voicemail. So if you do need to send a text, give the audio text give that a try. Practice it on somebody a couple times before you send it to a client, though. I would encourage you to do that. So blend in and get tossed, stand out and get noticed. So here's the thing. If you are not currently communicating to your database, you're going to stand out by just communicating with them. Would you guys agree with that? if they're not already hearing from you. However, and this is where I was challenged, and some of you that have been communicating to your database may also be challenged. How many of you get mail and you go to the mailbox and you're like, okay, that's junk, that's junk. Oh, I know what that is, I'll open it later. I know what that is, I'll open it later. How many of you have those pieces of mail where it's important, but you know what it is and you're going to open it later? It doesn't cause a lot of excitement. Anybody? Okay. I was challenged in this book that we write regular note cards all the time, and we've been doing it for years now. What if our note cards, hey, spring has sprung, give us a call if you need anything. It's a handwritten note card, yes. But what if that just became that piece of mail that they're like, oh, I know what that is, I'll open it later. Did it lose its power? It did. And so I was really challenged in this book that I had to up my game, and I had to make the handwritten note card that we were taking the time to write something that made them be like, oh my gosh, Bonds Realty Group mailed us something, like what's inside this month? So we're working on value pieces, and we've implemented them where every month it's a coupon to a restaurant. It is something of value that hopefully makes them more excited to open it than, I know what that is. I'll read it later when I'm bored. And let's just be honest, that happens. It's better than nothing showing up, but I don't want to blend in and get tossed. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So this is we got this from Jeff Glover. Twice a year we started doing this, how we gave back, a looking ahead, and a year in review. So just letting people know what you do. I love it. So many of you guys are involved in Cares for Kids. You're involved in Red Day. You guys are involved in the social committees that are doing give backs. There's so many things that you guys are doing to give back. I interviewed somebody the other day to come to my house and do some work. And as she was telling me about her company, she said, and we do this for single moms and we do this for families that are having hard times. And I was like, man, I love that. It made me want to hire her. And I thought, that made me want to hire her. And yet I'm still not doing a good enough job sharing how our company supports charities. So just, that was a side note there. But so we send mail once a month. If you don't want to send mail once a month, that's okay. But because of this value proposition and wanting everything that we send to have value, make them want to hold it, make them want to read it, make them want to know that we sent it, we decided to try to have everything make them say, okay, I find this valuable. This is our postcard for spring. We did 4 recipes and a spring maintenance checklist. We got more feedback about this postcard than we've gotten in a really long time, which is super exciting. So just thinking about the value that your mail piece is providing, that your note card is providing, and making sure that it makes them want to read it. The other thing is, I mentioned before, your brand and consistency. You guys have it. We put our red B on everything that we send out. So even if it is a mail piece that they stand at the garbage can and they're tossing it, if they see that B, they'll know, okay, Bonds Realty Group has just sent us a piece of mail, and hopefully we'll stay top of mind. All right. Jason's really good at holding all these PowerPoint notes and flipping through them like seamlessly. He gave me a class on it, but I didn't do so good on it yet, so y'all bear with me. You guys just were given an opportunity on May 1st to participate in a call-in event. This is one of our 4 events that we do. It provides people an opportunity to win money. Is that valuable? Y'all, is that valuable?
Yes.
Yes. Also, number 1 on the most impactful hierarchy, it's voice to voice. It's, well, number 2. You're talking to them, you're offering them value. And oh, by the way, when people call in for these events, what is it giving you the opportunity to do?
Get information so you can follow up with them.
Get information to follow up. What information can you get?
Their address, their birthday, referrals, people they know, you know.
Are they ready to buy or
email, are they ready to buy or sell?
All of those things. What if you realize that the email address you've been emailing to them at the last 3 years was missing a T? Is this a great time to verify that you have all the correct information for them? 100%. So use these opportunities to have them call in, verify that you're getting all the right information. It's an item of value. It's an opportunity to ask for referrals. By the way, Ann Sepko said something amazingly brilliant. How many reviews did you get?
18 in one day.
18 reviews in one day. Ann, do you mind sharing what you said to ask them to get those reviews?
Well, the beauty of that event is you get extra entries if you get a review. So I had the link on my phone. I said, hey, for 10 extra entries or 5 extra entries, if you do a review, I'm gonna put you in there for more entries for your chance to win. You're like, heck yeah. You just send the link right there.
Value,
Yeah.
value, 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 value. And also, did Ann get value that day? Y'all, this is a no-brainer. It costs you $50. It's the cheapest event you will ever do. It is the #1 event that we do every single year, and it costs us way more than $50. Jump on that train, you guys. If you only have 10 people in your database, is it worth the $50 to do this event? Yes. You could get 10 reviews that day. You could grow your database by 10 or more people. What would it look like if you asked for extra entries if they introduce you to someone that you don't yet know? Absolutely. Amazing. All right, what's this?
Nothing
Nothing
but.
but
Nothing but cakes, okay. So another thing that face-to-face, #1 most important thing that we do. So when you're thinking about your database, I want you to think about ways to touch different segments of it. Can anybody in the database call in to win the money?
Yes.
Yes. Are y'all awake?
Yes.
Yes, okay,
Yes.
awesome. It doesn't matter if they're 20, it doesn't matter if they're 70. Calling in to win money impacts everybody in your database. It's a win-win for you and it's a win-win for everybody in the database. There are people who are never going to participate. It doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter what you give away. You can give away Yeti coolers, you can give away season tickets to the Braves. I don't care what you give away, they're never going to participate. However, they're valuable to your business. And you need to go to them to appreciate them. So every Easter, our team picks families that we want to personally deliver bundt cake to. We have a little over 1,200 people in our database. We only picked 50 people. So it's not like we delivered an astronomical amount of cakes, but these are families that usually never come to our events. And we called them and we said, hey, listen, we'd like to bless your family with a little treat for your Easter celebration. Are you going to be home this week? They're like, absolutely. We delivered 52 cakes. This was a post that one of my clients posted of her cake on her Easter table. This was Sunday. Last night at 8:30, I got a text. Hey, my dad said I should call you. My husband and I are ready to buy a house. Her dad was one of 6 people that I delivered a cake to. That cake caused family conversation and ultimately ended up in a referral. Another one of our agents showed up at a door and it was her pastor, and he said, man, I've been meaning to tell you, we've got somebody relocating here. We just hired him at the church. I need you to call them because they're going to be ready to look at a house. 52 cakes, 2 referrals, but it's that face-to-face communication. People were just chatting about us. We have a phrase in our team that we talk about. It's be there when the yes happens. So doesn't have to be nothing but cake, you guys, but take something of value to their door and have conversation with them. Did you have a question?
Yes, I was just gonna ask, so you deliver personally?
Yeah, we call and make sure they're gonna be home, which is, and some people were like, no, we're gonna be out of town, but they know we thought of them and that was super special too. So this is our back to school event. So this touches another segment of our database. It's also our community reach out. We invite people to come pick up school supplies, and we also invite families who are having, who know people that are going through a tough time to come get school supplies. This is a large event. You don't have to do super large events. The 2 that we've just talked about, if you have a smaller database, you can do them on a smaller scale. This is a larger scale event, but it's a great community outreach. And it's one we've been doing for a long time and we just love seeing the people. Now I want to talk to you guys about the DTD2 plan. How many of you guys are doing a DTD2 plan? Okay. So one of the things that the Ninja Selling Book challenged us on was taking the DTD2 and incorporating the FORD conversation. So FORD stands for Family, Occupation, Recreation, and Dreams. Are you guys familiar with that? All right. Take that and pair it with needing to have 50 meaningful conversations a week. So that's the goal. The DTD2 is to your database. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. So, Anne, I'm calling you and you're under contract with me and you're a buyer, okay? So what would it look like if I called you and I was like, hey, Anne, I'm just calling to make sure, did you get your home inspection set up?
Yes,
Okay,
I did. It was awesome.
fantastic. So you got that set up, you're ready to go. Hey, listen, before I let you go, I just want to check in. How was your first Easter here in Georgia?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. I went to this Easter egg hunt. There were 600 eggs. There was kids everywhere. It was at Keller Williams Buford office.
That Easter, I heard that Easter bunny was fantastic.
So
My
good.
grandson finally warmed up to it after a while, yeah. So listen, Anne, so your first event here in Georgia, how did you enjoy it?
It was so family friendly. I'm so glad we came to this state. I just feel the vibe here. It was so good.
Did you meet some nice people?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So that's the extent of the conversation, right? But did I have a family conversation with Anne? Is Anne a current client? Yeah, so she's not yet really my DTD2 plan, but here's the point. What am I starting to build with Anne right here? Rapport. So now, fast forward, I'm further down in the communication with Anne. And now Anne and I are getting ready to go over her settlement statement, okay? She's getting ready to go to the closing table. I call her. I'm like, hey, Anne, listen, I just got your settlement statement. Do you have time to go over it with me? Yes, Nikki, I do. Listen, I'm just finishing up coffee with a friend of mine. She just found out she's also moving to Georgia, and I'm getting ready to tell her about you. Okay? I've been building rapport with Anne this entire time. Every time we have conversation, I'm having a FORD conversation. What do you like to do for fun? Where are you going to golf this week? Where are you going to play tennis? And then all of a sudden, throughout this conversation, it hasn't just been transactional. I've gotten to know her. She's gotten to know me. And she feels comfortable referring me in the middle of our transaction. Does that make sense? Oh, by the way, you can count every one of those conversations as one of your 50 meaningful conversations that you have during the week. So it's getting past the notion that we have to cold call to have meaningful conversations, because what we're doing is we're actually building rapport with people that we're already in relationship with, we're already transacting with. Make sense? All right, so let's go back to the DTD2 plan and just talk through it a little bit. So whenever you're following it, you're calling people, you're calling them by letter, you're texting them by letter, you're Facebook or Instagramming them by letter. So if you're on social media, what would be the point of sending somebody a message through that channel? Why is that important?
Because nobody sends messages or communicates that way. They all do it on the post. They don't do it through the message.
That's right. I can't tell you the last time I got a Facebook message. I get a lot of reels, I get a lot of funny memes, right? But when was the last time you got a message on that channel? Here's the other reason. What if you have their email address wrong? Are they getting your emails? No. What if they're deleting your emails? Is that possible? Yeah, that is possible. If you haven't been able to get them on the phone, but that person is on Facebook constantly, are they going to see your message? 100%. And so the goal of this plan, you guys, is to make sure that whatever channel your database is tuned into, your face is on it, your voice is on it, you are in their mind on the channel that they're plugged into. You have people in your world that are never going to read your emails. You've got people in your world that are not going to pick up your phone call. You've got people in your world that are not going to read your mail, but they will answer your Facebook message all day long. And so by hitting, that's why this plan is so, so vitally important, because you're making sure that all the channels are working. And at some point, they may not answer you on any of the channels for a year, but on some point, they're going to pick up one of the channels. The fuzz is going to go away and they're going to be like, hey, Julie, I heard you. And you're like, you did? I've been hearing you the whole time. I'm just now actually letting you know it. The note card, the item of value. Again, that's a place where we had grown really, really stale. So we're beginning to add some kind of item of value to the note card. If you guys feel like sending a note card every month is overwhelming, it's okay. I would encourage you that these first 3 categories are the most important and the ones to be the most consistent with. They're also the ones that cost the least amount of money. They don't cost anything, right? The pop buys, that's that face-to-face value, which on the hierarchy of the contacts in Ninja Selling are going to be the ones that are the most valuable. So let's talk about what a valuable pop buy would be. What do you think that looks like? Julie, I know you're the
I
pop
love
buy
that.
queen. Come on. Come on.
So I love forget-me-not flowers and you put a little note with it. I go to the dollar store and get little, like I got some little baskets and put treats and stuff, and I kind of do them differently with different people, but I love pop buys and I really like taking them to their work because people go, oh man, my realtor doesn't come by, and I have a pharmacist client. I always take his there, and I've gotten like 8 referrals from him, from people just seeing me come in, so. And there's a site called Pop Buys for Realtors. It's great.
Yes.
So great.
So what you guys just heard her say is that she's doing it where it's visible. Now, the pop buy is great at a place of business because it's like some FOMO happening, right? It's like my agent doesn't do that for me. Is what you take as important as the fact that you show up?
Absolutely not.
No.
It might be junk, but they're so excited to get it.
They're so excited to get it. So that consistency of flow is the key there, just showing up. And so I would encourage you guys, so now we're going to jump to another conversation. How do you pick who you're going to pop by? Well, this system just gives you a systematic way to do it. But you might say, gosh, I've got like 12 M's in my database, and that's just too many for me to do. Of those 12 M's, are there any that are on your hot or warm list that you know might transact in the next little bit? Those people are key targets that you want to make sure that you hit. You guys, here's the point. The whole goal of staying in touch with your database, and you know what, look, unfortunately, I feel like other professions don't have to work as hard as we do, but let's just face facts, we do, right? But it pays off in dividends when we do it. But the point is just to make sure that they remember you. And it goes back to those 3 key things. They know you, they like you, and they trust you. They can count on your consistency. They can count on your behavior. They can count that you're the master of your domain. Dara just showed you guys some amazing statistics about what's going on in Gwinnett County. You guys can take that slide and you always have talking points about what's going on. How many times a week do you guys get the question, how's the market?
More than once.
More than once, all the time. How do you answer? It's great.
You ask,
What part of the market is interesting to you? When you answer back with that question, then that automatically opens up a conversation. It's like if you say, yeah, it's great, houses are moving at a super fast pace, you're giving them good information. But if you answer back, you know what? I'm curious, what part of the market interests you? Well, you know what? We're looking to put our home on the market and we were just wondering how much competition we're going to have. Let's talk about that. We're ready to jump into buying. We wonder how much competition we're going to have. Let's talk about it. So countering back with that question, what part of the market interests you? And I'm guilty of not doing it because I just want to answer the question and be done with it. Because sometimes I don't want to answer that question, I'll be honest with you. You ever feel that way? Yeah. So oh, okay, I thought you had a question. So communicating these things to your database, open-ended questions, giving them opportunities to get communication from you is paramount. Now, what if you're not in a position to do any client events? What if you're not in a position to do anything that costs a ton of money? Where should you start? What do you guys think?
Your phone.
What if you don't have a database yet?
You could find some local events that are free and just do an invite on social media. Hey, does anyone want to join me at this thing that I'm having?
So yes, your phone, you guys have an entire database already in your phone. Start there and put it somewhere. If you are newer to the business and you don't have a group of people, you feel like I don't really have a database. If you play tennis, if you play golf, if you attend a local church, if you played baseball in school and you have former teammates or coaches, find those organizations, go to events. That is a wonderful idea. And there's an 8x8 plan. I don't have time to get into it today, but if you guys would like me to send you an 8x8 plan, it's an 8-week touch program where you can either reconnect with somebody in your database, or if you're going to events, it's a way for you to connect to somebody to kind of leapfrog them into consistent communication and database. And I'll be happy to send that to you. Nikki@teambonds.com is my email address, and I can email that to you. Yes, so yes, I'll be happy to do so. So taking those people and starting there with communication is what's key. If you guys have a database full of people, I would really encourage you to go back and ask yourself the questions, do they like me? Do they know me? Do they trust me? If you have people, and by the way, we do, in your database where you can't say where you met them or how you know them, you should consider doing an audit. If I see somebody in Costco and I can't say their face or their name, they're probably not a good fit for my database, because this database is meant to be one that's super close, super intimate. Does that make sense? Now, there's one group that I'd like to introduce you to that we started doing 2 years ago. And it's a tag in your database, and it has started to pay off for us. So I'd like to share it with you. We didn't invent it. We got it from Jeff Glover. And it's called an exchange database. Is anybody familiar with this? Okay. So how many of you have gone on a listing appointment and the listing appointment has gone fantastically well, but for some reason the seller decided that now just wasn't a good time for them to list their home? Anybody? Yep. You'd like to stay in touch with that person. You don't want to miss an opportunity if and when they decide to list their home. So that person would go into this database, but they would go in under a tag labeled exchange. This is because the reason it's exchange is because we had a wonderful exchange. We set great rapport. They liked what I had to say. And ultimately, they just decided not to make a move. Same thing, we had a buyer consultation. We met, everything went super well. For whatever reason, they decided that now is not a good time to make a move. We put them in this database and we label them with exchange with as many detailed notes as possible. The reason that we started doing this was twofold. Number one, we wanted to grow our database. And number two, we realized that we were losing opportunities because these people weren't getting follow-up. They weren't getting in our Boomtown database, which is internet leads where people are registering, and we weren't really communicating with them that way. And they weren't in this database with people who are either past clients or sphere of influence. And so we found a big hole in communication, and we were losing people just for our lack of follow-up. So that is the only exception to somebody that I might see in Costco, because I might not recognize those people in Costco, but we have really, really good notes on them. And so then when somebody registers for a client event or they attend something, we cross-reference everybody that comes so we know where they're coming from. And we have had some exchange people actually start to come to some of our functions just because we've been inviting them. So I would encourage you guys to begin using that. Other places that people come from in our exchange database are people that show up at open houses. Maybe we've had great communication. Somebody's not working with an agent. They might be 6 months out from making a decision, but we had great rapport. They'll go into our database as an exchange. We'll note that they're about 6 months out. So buyer appointments, seller appointments, open house, and then also anybody that's come to our events through Facebook or social media, and we've been able to have good communication with them. We open our back to school event and our wine and dine event, which is the virtual call-in event, to community people. And if we have good interactions there, we open that event up. So that is a tag that we've recently added to this database. We did this about 2 years ago, so it's taken some time for it to take off and for us to nurture those people, but we are starting to see some return from it. And I think fourth quarter last year, we had one of our first closings from that. So any questions? We're about at the end. I tried to talk really fast so that I could get it all in and leave time for somebody at the end. Yes, ma'am.
If you don't have a very large database and you don't know who to contact, I pulled up a list like on ChatGPT or Gemini or whichever one we're supposed to be. And it listed, I think I just put in people I should call that I should know. And it pulled up like 150 different of people that I possibly know, just to trigger your mind to reach out. Oh my God, there's an engineer on there. There's a housekeeper on there. There's a babysitter. It was insane how many people. I'm like, I know somebody there. I know somebody there. So if you think you don't have a database and you don't know who to call, try to do that and get that list, because it will be hundreds of people that you really do know
Yes.
people in those industries.
100%. And also, I don't mean to keep plugging this book. It's not the Bible or anything, but this book has a link to a bunch of resources, and it also gives you a list that's almost as long. My nail person, my hair person, my dry cleaning, all the people, exactly what you said. And by the way, ChatGPT is an amazing, if y'all don't have a subscription and haven't started playing around with that, I really encourage you to do so, because it will give you some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful suggestions. Yes, ma'am.
So on your tag exchange, are they on a plan, a separate plan of some sort that you do talk to them through just the drip?
So they now go on this plan.
Oh, they do.
Yes, they go in this database, they get invited to everything. And when we're making our calls, it's like, hey, I know when we met, you guys weren't quite ready. Just wanted to check in with you. How are things going with the family? So yes, we just begin working them this way instead of like a drip campaign. One last piece. We started making our emails much shorter and trying to make them much more rich. Joy, sorry, I might be giving you a job, but Joy does some amazing market updates for us, and we send those out. So we might say, hey, here's a couple of our newest listings. Here's our favorite burger joint, and here's a great market update from one of our trusted partners. And we keep it short and sweet. We're trying to make sure that it's short enough that they actually get through the whole thing. We don't want it to be like scroll, I'm not reading this. So I also just want to bust the myth that it has to be full of so much information, because it just doesn't. Remember, the goal of any of this, you guys, is to provide a little bit of value and to stay top of mind. Provide a little bit of value and to stay top of mind. That's the whole goal. So, all right. Thank you so much.